you have to give up central economic planning in all areas instead of becoming, the planner and central economic planning and telling which businesses survive. They get off on a tangent, and all of a sudden, green technology is the most perfect thing in the world. Well, how do they know? And
well,
to me, just
good. I'm sorry, sir, but here's their argument. And not that we were lucky to get any administration heads to talk to us today on this, but the argument for this is pretty much what you just ended with there, that the Chinese and some of these others have heavily subsidized solar industries of their own, and in order to compete with them in the open global market, we have to subsidize that. If we don't, we'll be at risk of just losing this whole burgeoning industry to foreign competitors. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, if you believe in free trade and the marketplace, let's say solar energy was really worthwhile and could outcompete everybody,
right,
and China wants to give them to us at 1/10 the cost, why should we deny that to the consumers? We allow poor people to buy tennis shoes from China, and they only pay $10 instead of $100, and we don't think that's a tragedy for the poor people. But I don't even believe that solar panels are competitive, and I think they're selling them in this country mainly because of this superficial emphasis on this need, and people feel like I'm doing my patriotic duty to buy all these panels, and they haven't had a fair shake with the market. We should have enough confidence in the market, allow the profit motive to decide whether this stuff is successful instead of the politicians. This is all special in the politics. I think this incident is just proof positive of why the government should stay out of this kind of business totally and completely.
While I have you here, Congressman, I had Vice President Cheney here the other day, and your fine name came up, but not in the most flattering of ways. I want you to listen to this. He even doesn't make a big deal over if and when Iran gets nuclear weapons, that's something for them to settle in that region. You wouldn't support a nominee like that.
There are nominees that I'm not enthusiastic about. They haven't gotten the nomination, not likely to get the nomination.
So you're ruling Ron Paul out?
I'm ruling out the opportunity here today to indicate who I support.
He went on to say, Congressman, he doesn't think you'll have a chance, paraphrasing him, becoming the nominee, so it's a moot point, and that your ideas, particularly with sort of pulling up our boots, soldiers' boots, more to the point, from around the world, is risky. What do you say?
Well, we'll have to prove him wrong. I mean, I'm quite confident about the foreign policy that I advocate, but we have to prove him wrong by winning some elections. But when he says he'll support all Republicans except some, like myself, which means that he wants to be the dictator and say, I will decide who is a true Republican or not. And I say, he doesn't have that authority. The people have this authority, and because we're gaining our support, I mean, he might just come up short on his desires. So we'll see what happens, and I'm very confident that we're going to continue to surprise a lot of people.
He physically blanched when I passed along your view on Iran, that even if it were to get nuclear weapons, that's something over which we should not interfere. That'll be to Israel. It's none of our business. He was shocked at that view. What do you say?
Well, I don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want Pakistan to have them. I don't want India to have them, and I wish we had a lot less of them. I didn't like it when the Soviets had 30,000, and I was drafted into the Cold War, which looked like it was going to become a hot war in the 1960s. So, no, I don't like them. But I also understand it, and I also put it in perspective that, if Iran gets one nuclear weapon, why are they more dangerous to us than the Soviet system was when they had 30,000 and we were able to live with that?
Yeah, but so the argument is that Iran is nuttier, and that Ahmadinejad might be very intent on destroying a lot of Iranians for the sake of killing a lot of Americans or whatever.
I think that's a wrong assessment, because I don't think
you don't want to be wrong, though. You don't want to be wrong on that one.
Well, okay, but then we have to bomb everybody. This is what I complain about.
No, I'm just
the willingness to go
Iran particularly different in that its
No.
past and its history suggests it
How
does
could they be
have
any worse?
aberrant behavior.
How could they have been any worse than Khrushchev telling us he would bury us, and he had the capacity to do it? So I would say what we ought to be more cautious about is this glib acceptance that we can go to war in another country, because if you want to stop them, you have to start a war with Iran. And that, to me, is careless warmongering, very, very dangerous, much more dangerous than another country country having a nuclear weapon that's not on the verge of committing suicide, and besides, they wouldn't dare with one weapon, and Israel has 300? I mean, we have to put this in a proper perspective and get back to our common sense.
Congressman, I wanted to get your view on that. It's always good seeing you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ron Paul. Well, the president talking outside, he's out in North.
Fuck Dick Cheney!